So I finally pulled the trigger, and I had a part made out of carbon. So I don't think I've actually shown my 3D printer before. Probably seen pieces of it. This is my 3D printer. It was originally a CR10. I tinker with it all the time. These are finicky beasts at the best of times. I made this custom filament out sensor because most of the filament out sensors, they go up here, right? And they detect, or they go on the box or something, and they detect when the run out has happened. But then if the filament breaks, like somewhere around here, it can't detect it. So I want one right on top of it. And there are a few that are like that. They use the canned ones. I wanted to use my own switch because I can wire it on myself. The printer itself used to be a CR10. All the guts have been broken out. I wanted to replace the motherboard with a Big Tree motherboard, which I did, but then I didn't fit in the case anymore, so I just sort of nailed it all to a board. I wanted to control it with a Raspberry Pi, so I wanted to implement that. And I wanted to have it's got a custom bed heater on it, really high-powered AC bed heater. And that needs a solid-state switch. So I had to do that, and it has to have its own power supply. It's a 24-volt power supply because in order to get 300 degrees out of this hot end, you have to send 24 volts through it. But the rest of the board runs on 12, so that's 12, and then there's a 5-volt supply back there for the Pi. And it just sort of turned into this. Anyways, the important part is that I can print carbon, and I did print carbon. And what did I do? Oh, here it is. Here it is. Now here is the wheel, which is the first thing I wanted to do, which I'm pretty sure I've completed the design on. I'm quite certain that this is the wheel, that design I'm going with. You see it had some problems there with the extruder, but those are cosmetic. It feels a little squishier, which I would expect from nylon, than the PLA. The PLA feels harder and tougher, but you can see it printed out well with good layer adhesion. I mean, I'm really squeezing almost as hard as I possibly can, and normally if it was bad nylon, it would just come apart in your hand in a bunch of layers, and they look like a collection of gaskets. So now the big question: weight. I was worried that the carbon impregnated nylon would be heavier than PLA. We'll start with the PLA. 10 grams. All right. Now, identical print, different material. What do you think? I know you have a guess. I had a guess. All right. 9. It is about 8 to 10% lighter than the PLA. Fantastic. And it's supposed to, by all the numbers, it's tougher. So that's good. Very happy with that. That means that all my parts will be at or underweight, which means I can probably bulk them up, which leads me to the chassis. Here's the current version of the chassis. Now these are not symmetrical. They look symmetrical, but they're not quite. They're fairly symmetrical. The motor mounts goes in like that, and you can see it's got a little play here because these gearboxes are different widths based on the gear ratio, so it's able to accommodate them all. The important part is that it can't turn because it's got the build outs in there. And now it needs shaft support on this end, and you'll see that there isn't any. It's just hanging out in air. I tried several different versions of this, and you'll see that I had this little hook there. It doesn't do what you think it does. This part goes over the top of it like so, and then slides forward like that. And you'll see that the little dog leg up there now supports the shaft, which is very robustly supported. This way, what I was experiencing was when I was pushing down on this, is exactly that would happen. It would lift up in the back, and the side adhesion wasn't fantastic, so I wanted it to be captured, and that way it's captured. So it goes together like this, and then it's got a hole in the top and the bottom where the screws hold it together. And it is very, very strong and robust. I've only got one hand, so I can't show you that it's, and you wouldn't be able to feel it anyway. It's very, very stiff. I don't know where the hits are going to come from. Remember, there's going to be a weapon whirring around on the front, and it's going to be at about this height here. So, presumably, any opponent, here's my mock-up of an opponent. It's a 2-pound block of iron. Thanks again, Timberwolf, for cutting these out for me. He cut me some blanks. Is going to be coming at it, anything that comes at it from this angle here, so the front, I don't know, 120, 170 degrees, is going to have to encounter the weapon first if it's spinning. So I'm not too worried about that. I've got, the wheels are spaced fairly widely apart as these things go, so I'm pretty sure I'm going to have very good yaw control as long as the wheels are working. I'm expecting most hits to come from the side, so that's why this is the thickest armor, and it's not very thick. You can see it's maybe a 1/4 inch, and I'm going to be bulking that out just a little bit, but I didn't know how much weight I had. Turns out I do have a little bit of weight, so The back is curved in, so that anything that comes at it from the back is going to have to hit again this thick armor. Anything that comes directly from the back will have to have reach with their weapon. I would expect them to first knock the thing away with part of their weapon before they actually got into here. This is where the electronics and sensitive stuff is. That's why it's all skeletonized. That's for weight. Oh, sorry, not for weight. It's for weight. It is for cooling. Right? So it looks fairly skeletal, and I don't know if that's going to be a good thing or not. I mean, obviously it's not the best thing. I'd like it to be filled in, but will it be? How much damage is it going to take in the actual arena? What's going to happen to it? There's only one way to find out, and that's what's going to happen in about a month. I've already registered for Dragon Con. The one day Sunday, I'm going to show up, and this is my ant weight entry. Again, thanks for watching. Thanks for following along. If you have any questions or comments or want to know anything about what you see in my lab and what I'm working on, by all means, ask. I love talking about it. So till next time.